You are listening to Naked Soul Reflections, Mindful Moments for Clothes-Free Living, with your host, Hantu Nehard.
Greetings to all. This is your host, Hantu Nehard, sharing with you another episode of ClothesFreeLife.com Naked Soul Reflection. This week, I want to visit and share with you on a subject or a theme that has been part of a training I'm going through. The training I'm doing is a yoga teacher training in the style of Prana Vinyasa. And you don't really have to worry about what all of the technical words mean or anything. But what I wanted to share with you is some appreciation I have on elements of this style of yoga. One of the hallmarks of it is how a particular practice, class, is sequenced in stages. So when we, as teachers, think about a class, we might elect for what they call a peak posture, one particular pose that we want to build up to. And once we choose a particular posture, we then sit back and think of all the different steps it takes to get there. What does that pose embody? What are the energetics of it? What's the nature of it? And how will we create a journey that supports people finding their way towards that pose or a variation of it? One of the things I truly love is that it's sequenced in stages. So we'll elect the peak pose, and then we think about, okay, in stage one, what are all the initial stages of all the different poses that will take us there? We don't immediately dive into right away the fullest expression of every pose. We take everything in stages. And in doing so, it allows any student to participate throughout the entire process. Whether they stay with the first iteration of the poses and simply take their time building up over weeks, months, years, or if they tap into the next stages of each pose within a class. And even for advanced students, these stages remind them of all the foundational elements, as well as support those students on any days where their energy and bodies are oscillating, where they might not be able to tap into their usual range of expressions for whatever reasons. Injury, sleepiness, could be any reasons. These stages give us time to explore every piece intricately. They allow us to breathe through every part of the journey, to take our time and to really link breath with movement, as well as create what we call entrainment, the creation of rhythm within oneself, as well as rhythm of oneself with the environment, others in the environment. So within a yoga class, entrainment might help all of the students to sink into a common rhythm, a shared energy, reminding us that we are in community, even as we walk through different stages at our own levels. It's such a beautiful process to embody and practice. I know certainly for me, particularly as I continue to walk through each year of my life, my habits can accrue into different effects in the body, whether it's tightness or pain or limitations in range of motion, or forgetting to breathe. And so perhaps diving right into a full expression or a complex pose isn't necessarily wise when I need to spend time creating counterpoints to having sat at a computer all day or typing all day, rather than taking my hands and fingers through rhythmic dancing, circular patterns to reestablish fluidity, health, movement, expression. We have so many different cultures and ways of life in the world. And we have to be aware of our tendencies locally. So that we can give ourselves what we need in order to be healthy, whole, and complete. So going through stages and phases of opening, building strength, cultivating breath with movement, and creating entrainment. Going through stages also gives me the sense that I have time to develop. That it's not just this one shot at that one pose and then that's over. So often in some other classes, I have that feeling like I missed something. Like an opportunity slipped through my fingers and that I won't have a chance to revisit it again. But practicing in stages reminds me that always have another chance, that I can take my time, and that life is not over if I don't get it the first time or the second time. That I can be in my stages with integrity and dignity, knowing that I'm giving myself a healthy journey, and feeling that over time my body will change and adapt. And this is so important when I step out of my mat and into the world. When I think about whether it's applying for new jobs, applying for educational programs, when I'm managing my connections with different people, that there can be stages, and there are stages. Stages of sharing my clothes-free life, stages of my journey through clothes-free life. I remember stage 1 for me was simply doing naked yoga at home. And then second stage, after doing the yoga, just walking around the apartment, having a glass of water, reading simply. Stage 3, spending more time clothes free as much as possible on my own. And then eventually I moved through going to social events. And I really had to enjoy the process of taking my time and to honor my journey. And of course, my journey being perhaps very different from another person's journey. Perhaps their stages or phases looking very differently than mine. And yet we all have stages and phases. Whether we move from just being clothes-free at home to being social, or being the singular part of a family to even just talking about it with other family members. So many different phases that we can honor as authentic to our journeys. So I offer that for this week and forward. Whatever it is that is rising in our worlds today, this week, this month, this season, knowing that there are stages, even my disappointing moments, I recall getting rejected from graduate school. I recall getting accepted to programs, other programs. They're all stages of inquiring as to the next phase of development and skill sets. And so at some stages there were yeses, and some stages there were nos, and all of it being stages of arriving at the next level of development and training. So perhaps going to this particular program was a no, and yet I got opportunities at work to step up, promotion, opportunities to do yoga trainings. And then asking about teaching and getting no's, knowing that all of it is part of the process, part of the stages. So whatever it is that stands before you, whether it's stepping into clothes-free life, and perhaps at one stage someone makes a cruel remark, takes advantage, knowing that you can walk through each stage with dignity, and you can revisit everything with intention. Another thing one of my teachers said this week in class is we cannot will something to happen. We can't force it. We can set an intention and move along with that intention, but it behooves us to fall in love with the process. Because even as we set this peak posture, if you will, of what we want, the process might land us somewhere else, or a different version of it. Someplace unexpected, someplace amazing that we didn't imagine before. And so to fall in love with the process keeps us present to every stage of the journey. So I invite that for you as much as I invite that for myself every single day. This not being a perfect process by no means at all. So we'll do a brief breathing exercise to embody this experience of incremental stages. Come to a comfortable seat and bring your hands to your heart in a prayer position, what we call Anjali Mudra. Just simple prayer hands, palm to palm. And enjoy first the connection of the thumbs to the chest. And from here, you might elect to keep your eyes closed or tilt them down with a soft gaze looking at your hands to observe the process. So on an inhale, as you breathe in, open your palms just a little bit, perhaps just a few centimeters. and hold that space in between as you pause your breath. Exhale, let it go. Move your hands toward each other again, perhaps without touching. Inhale, open the hands as you breathe in and expand. Exhale, palms come towards each other again without touching, just closing space. On this inhale, take your palms just a little wider than you did last time. Exhale, gather your energy back towards center. And on this stage, on the inhale, even wider, perhaps the width of your chest, your torso. Exhale, draw back into center. Inhale, expansion, opening in stages. Exhale, hands move towards each other once again. Inhale, open, breath, heart, hands wide, almost to full extension of the arms. Exhale, palms come back to center. On this last breath, deep breath in, arms open wide, fully take in, receive. Exhale, bring it back towards center. Palms touch, thumbs to chest. And let the experience of incremental expansion land in your body. Let the truth of it resonate with you. And let the memory of it walk with you as you go about your day and your week. Until we meet again.